This episode of Hosecast is brought to you by Park Sound Studio, home of producers, engineers Dan Ponich and Andy Schichter. 1,000 square feet of creative space to bring your musical ideas to life. My guest today is Byron Slack, frontman of the Vancouver powerhouse Invasives. In 2003, Invasives released their debut record, The World's Gotta Go Round. Now, 14 years and 6 albums later, they're back in the studio. This is my conversation with Byron.
Hosecast. This is Hosecast.
All right. That's fine.
You know what I mean? So, you're in the studio recording your 7th album?
It's really the 6th full length.
Because you don't consider shorts?
Shorts is more of an EP. Yeah, even though there's 10 songs.
Okay, so I've got a question for you.
Okay.
What the fuck is an EP? I mean, I know it's an extended play, but what does that really mean now?
An EP, as I've
what is
heard
an EP?
people say. An EP, I guess, is something that's under... I guess you could call our first record an EP because it's under 30 minutes. But I would assume it's something that's not... either doesn't have as much thought put into it as a full-length release.
Is that really? Because I feel like EP is supposed to be some sort of functional thing, like it's like a preview of something coming.
Yeah, I could be totally wrong here, but I think it comes from a piece of time from, I would guess, somewhere in the 60s when you would have like a 45 and which people bought, and then people would buy albums, and then they would start selling 45s that were extended play 45s, so it would have more than one song on them, and they play like a 33. That'd be my guess.
But is it relevant anymore? Because
No.
I find whenever someone
No.
says, my band's releasing our new EP, I'm always kind of like, why?
I think they mean like 3 songs.
And so it's like, here's a preview to what's going to... And then when you release a full album, do you put those songs on it? Or do you re-record them?
If you're lazy.
So it's like a half album. It's like a...
It would be. Yeah. It's like a half album. Shorts is kind of like a half. If I had my way, Shorts would have been 30 songs. It would have been 30.
You've got that many shorts?
It would have been 30 1-minute songs, but because of literally money restraints, we could do 10 songs.
That's actually what you wanted to do, is put like a library of short songs?
At 30 songs
Really?
in 30 minutes. Yeah, that was the idea. But then we were like, well, let's be realistic about this. Let's do a 7-inch that has 5 minutes aside and 10 songs and release as an album. It was a kind of a way for us to do something. Pardon me. Hosecast.
There's going to be a lot of burping. That's going to be like a feature of the Hosecast, I think.
Yeah,
there's beer involved.
Yeah, I think that what we did, it had been a while since we put out a full-length record, and so we wanted to do something immediately after Robot Stink, and we did Shorts, and it was just kind of like it was a way that we were kind of like in between things. It was after our 5th full-length, so we were like, what are we going to do? Let's have some fun, and something I always wanted to hear any band do would be to do an album of like 1-minute songs. And so
I feel like most of your songs are like 2 minutes anyway.
3.
There's a lot of 2-minute songs.
There's a lot of 2-minute songs,
especially on like the early, like the second. I think the second and third album are like all really short.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes.
So is that a reference to the Ramones? Is that
Yeah.
like you're in your head kind of what?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The first record that we recorded, World's Gotta Go Round, was an absolute complete. It was all 3 of us growing up listening to music and then being musically sheltered in a way that we got introduced to the Ramones way late in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and we were like, let's do a punk rock record. We had been a band and we had been trying to be very grandiose. Not really, just we'd written like pop songs. And so we did a record where we threw all our songs away and we're like, we're going to go into the studio, let's write 10 songs and not worry about anything we'd ever done. And just instead of relying on anything that we had done, we were just like, let's start the project now. And we just did it. And it was like, wow, in a way, I think it's our best record.
The first one?
Yeah, I think so.
I was actually going to ask if you, do you still listen to it?
Oh, no.
Never. Do you listen to any of your records? Like if there's one that you still would listen to, which one would it be? I guess the newest one probably, right? Or are you one of those guys who just doesn't listen to your own shit?
No, I like listening to the stuff after it's done because it's like a lot of the time it's the work that I put in. I want to appreciate it being finished, and sometimes when somebody says something to me about what they appreciate about a record, I'll go back and check it. But I'm not somebody to really. The thing I listen to most now is the 17 tracks we're going to go and record in October.
You're putting 17 on this record?
No, we're recording 17. We're going to probably pick like 10 or 13.
Okay. So yeah, like nowadays, I feel like records don't really go past 10 songs. Mm-hmm. I wonder why that is. People's attention spans.
Well, I don't think any of our records have gone past 11 songs, and so we've always been trying to break that. And we tried to with Robot Stink, but friends that we were bouncing the record off were adamantly against a couple songs.
Really?
And so we pulled them. And it's also about fitting them on a piece of vinyl.
But you only have Robot Stink's the only vinyl, I thought.
It is, yeah. But before that, it was like we'd have songs that wouldn't fit properly.
Yeah.
It's I think on all the albums before Robot Stink would have like 3 or 4 songs that we recorded that didn't make the record just because they didn't work.
You ever think about putting in like a B-sides?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd love to like hear some of that shit.
It's weird because it's like songs that didn't quite meet the mark.
Maybe they don't fit the vibe of that album, or are they just not that good?
They're just not that good.
Yeah.
It's like they have a good part, or it's like
Right.
it's something that we just kind of, it's just not, we didn't put the time into writing it well enough. Yeah.
So do you write, usually, do you normally write like an entire song, or do you often find yourself sort of Frankensteining parts together?
Oh, never Frankensteining.
Do you have a reason for that?
Yeah, because I don't appreciate, I can hear it when bands do that.
Right. It is kind of noticeable, eh?
Yeah, I don't like that. And I like it when it's like one part should resolve another and should, there's a reason, it's for like a band that's writing songs, the way that we do, I guess it needs to be linear in my mind. It needs to complete itself. It's like there's a beginning and there's an end. And whatever happens in the middle there needs to be like a resolution to the whole thing.
Right.
And it's like you can do something that doesn't utilize that exact like blueprint as a novelty, I guess. But the whole idea to me is about crafting a beginning, a middle, and an end, and having a resolve and going, and that's it. And so when you miss that mark, especially in this band, then the song is kind of like, it didn't work.
Right.
So then it will just have to go and sit on somebody's hard drive somewhere.
So do you kind of do that same sort of concept for like the sequencing of an album too? Where it's like the first song has to kind of be the introduction?
I try.
Like how much thought do you put into the sequence?
None, actually.
What? Really?
I give for our last since the self-titled album, I've actually given the sequencing to John Wright from No Means No.
You just hand it off to somebody?
Yeah, and I say, what songs do you think would go in this order? And like, I would you listen to these and tell me? And then it's like I might, with the band, we'll review what they say, and then we go, okay, that works. Because I feel like being in the band is sometimes you're too close to the what do you say? You're too close to the forest for the trees. You're too close to the trees for the forest. That's not right.
I never understood that.
Well, you can't see the forest
phrase.
for the trees.
What does that mean? I always wondered. Like, can't see the forest for the trees.
Because you're just hugging trees.
Oh, that explains it all. Shorts to me feels like a full album. Like it feels like it has a vibe. So are these songs that were just written like over the course of like 10 years, or are they all kind of the same?
No. We like.
So it is an album then.
Yeah.
I feel like an EP is like an insult to like it almost implies that it's not worth your time if you call it that.
Well, Adam and I wrote those songs, and then it's like then we demoed them, and some of them we wrote with Hans, and then Hans would say, you know, I like this one, I don't like this one. We just like went in and played them, and then we're like, let's record them.
Hans Anus,
the
drummer.
Yes, the hardest working anus in show business.
The drummer who has to play for a drummer. Like it's like the Taylor Hawkins thing from Foo Fighters.
Well,
because I heard from firsthand that you're kind of in charge of the. Not to say that you're like the guy. You're not like a dictator, but that you kind of sort of write with drums already in mind.
Sometimes.
Do you let? So here's my next question: is that like how much do you control the other, and I don't mean to like put you on the spot or put your other band members on the spot, but like, do you find that you have to sort of dictate what the other members are supposed to do in the songs that you write, or is it sort of a free form thing? Not to like insult anybody's. No.
Even asking that question it's totally fine, because it's like, you know, I write like, it's like 30% of what I write makes it into the band. And there's a lot of the time where they'll say, no, that's not good enough, or that bridge isn't good enough, or the part you wrote for me here is really stupid. Mm-hmm. And it's so they have full say over what they want to do. Generally, what I'm trying to do is when I write a song is to give them an idea of what it is that will work. And if they think that part, if they agree with me, then they'll play the part. They're like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. That works best for the song. But sometimes they're like, that doesn't fly. So, but
you like give them somewhere to start. And then do you have it where you'll be jamming a song and someone will play a riff, like they'll try something, and then you sort of point at them like, that's what you got to do here.
Well, my favorite thing is when I'll be like, this is the part, and then somebody will start playing the part in the wrong spot, but it works even better than. And so the accidentals are things that I try and draw from. The hardest thing is then recreating those.
That's funny.
How did you do that wrong thing? Let's make that work again.
I feel like I might be wrong, but I feel like that's sort of like a motif of Invasives, like accidents.
Oh, because so many
for one,
accidental
there's a
themes.
lot of the word accident comes up more than once, and then it also kind of feels like there's this weird like stumbling that happens with the guitar. You've explained it to me before that it's. I won't give away your secret sauce, but it was like the guitar parts have like a specific way that they keep falling in line in this. It's like they're stumbling on the beat. Not the rhythm that you're playing, but the riffs themselves, the timing of them.
Oh, the secret sauce is just 3/4, man.
Well, you shouldn't reveal that shit, Byron.
Oh, come on. Everybody can count.
When you told me, I can count, and I'd never noticed that. When you told me that, it was like, oh, I had an epiphany. I was like, that is what you're doing.
That's all it is.
It's da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na, but the drums don't follow that. They just like, so it's like every 4 3s, it kind of lands on the beat or whatever.
There was a thing in the 90s where it was like bands.
Who did that? I've never heard that really before.
Helmet would do it, and Tool. Everybody ripped off Helmet doing it, and then it was like everybody had their one song on the album that was 3/4.
And then you guys just did every song.
Like, yeah, why don't we just do every song like that, and then that'll be our thing. It was like just this thing that everybody kind of did once in a while as like a novelty, and we're like, let's just do that novelty all the time.
So you guys aren't. I lost my train of thought.
Oh my god.
It's the start. I mean, this whole podcast thing it's got me really nervous, man.
This is called an edit.
This is I'm still trying to decide if I want to edit shit or just like include like my struggle with it. You know what I mean?
It will be revealing to your audience.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is where you put in the ad. Hosewater.
Yeah,
Hose podcast.
We'll cut to some sort of commercial. That was a pretty good intro, right?
Hosecast.
Like whenever I'm on tour in Canada, which as you know is like the worst place to tour, I think. I mean, I haven't done a ton of touring outside of
The
it.
ginormous drives. If you're touring in Canada, bands out there touring in Canada, you have done it. If you're going to tour anywhere else in the world, it's easier.
Right. Like the driving's easier.
Everything's
the roads are easier. Our
Yeah.
roads are shitty.
Well, yeah.
Like as soon as you cross the border, it's like black pavement and like bright yellow
You'd be
lines
fine.
as far as you can see.
I remember one drive where we drove from Edmonton to Saskatoon and the entire highway was pulled up. So we had to go like
Jesus.
80 kilometers an hour and just like rocks and snow.
Snow.
Yeah.
Goddamn bugs.
There was no
Good
bugs.
Lord.
It was not the time of year for bugs.
I had to get out of the van once in outside of Calgary, and we were like outside enough that it was like, you know, pretty far up. You could just barely see the city, and we were like walking around, and it was like an apocalypse of bugs. It was insane.
Locusts.
They're crazy, man. They swarm you, and there's like these little spiders because there's fields that go as far as you can see, and there's these little spiders that crowd underneath like vehicles that stop.
Oh.
Like these tiny little yellow. It's so gross. It's like something out of like a freaky.
You don't need to stop for beef jerky. Just have a snack there.
Yeah.
That could be good.
See, when I end up getting shit like that, I have a stomach ache for the next 12 hours.
Well, you know.
You know, it's tough.
Tums. Road Tums.
I have a lot of those. Okay, so how about merch? Like,
Yeah?
when's the last time you toured? What was your last like decent chunk?
Of merch stuff?
No, just of like what was the last like, you know, month you went on?
Oh. Things have been pretty spotty since I think the last big tour we went on was like 2013. We did a month and a bit in Europe.
Okay.
And then since then it's been we do like a couple weeks here and a couple weeks there in Canada.
Right.
We do a couple weeks in the States.
Yeah, those year-long tours don't really exist for bands that aren't like the Foo Fighters.
No.
Right.
I mean, we would do, before that we were doing, you know, like a 6-week tour of Europe a year, and we'd do a couple 6-week tours of Canada every couple of years, you know, go coast to coast kind of thing. We did a couple times.
Like you're going to Europe, and you have to, I don't even know if you would bring anything, but you have to justify like every pound that you bring with you.
Yeah.
So what's the merch that's worth bringing? Like, do shirts sell? Do CDs sell? Because CDs, I feel like, are kind of dead now.
Well, when we first went over was 2007, and we printed our CDs here, and we had to bring them like in our carry-ons and in our luggage. I think we each brought like, you know, a couple pairs of underwears and shirts and socks and the shoes on our feet, and we packed in our bags all of our t-shirts to sell and packed like you know, in all our drum cases. We didn't bring
kit?
drums, but we'd bring like a snare.
Oh, that's funny.
And cymbals, and so
Right.
we'd like throw t-shirts in those. But since then, it's like I think we managed to bring over like 50 shirts between two of us, and like they sold out and they were gone. But then what we started doing was printing shirts there after that tour and printing albums there. So they'd be there when we arrived. They'd be in, like, we'd either pick them up. They'd be like our second show. We'd be in the same city as where our merch was, and we get that. And so there's actually still merch and shirts over there.
No shit.
Now.
Who gave you that idea? That's pretty clever.
It was the guys we were touring with.
So you guys don't like, you're like the DIY band, right?
I guess.
I
Yeah.
think like that's fair to say, right? You don't have a manager.
No, we're our own managers.
So you just
for
came
the-
up with that kind of shit, like
No, it was like, you know, we went on tour with Removal, and they were like, you should buy a camper van because then you don't have to take money for a hotel room, and you just take money. You say, we're going to get our own accommodation, give us the money for accommodation. You take that and stay in your van and go stay at a friend's house or the other band's house, but you have the comfort of your van. You use their shower in the morning, and then you leave and go to the next town. Through Europe, we were given sort of the idea where it was like, take a guitar over there with you and leave it.
just leave it at a buddy's place or what?
We leave it at one of the promoters' houses, or leave it with like Heist DeWitt, who is like renting us things like heads for amps and stuff like that, and he just hold on to it or rent it out to other bands, or it's like whatever. We didn't really go so far as to actually have guitars and stuff over there, but we were advised to like have stuff because everybody was like encouraging us. They were like, "You're gonna be huge," and so keep going over there and leave things over there so you can go over there and utilize them, and it's way cheaper for flights. But unfortunately, just a period of time, things changed, and it was like we didn't really get to amass a regular tour schedule.
And keep using those.
Yeah, so
shirts.
It's like the shirts and stuff, like the records and stuff, was very handy to have there, and we actually would try and bring them home. On the last tours, we were just trying to find out what we could bring home.
Reclaim all that.
Well, just so we could sell it over here because we wouldn't have stuff over here.
Is there a lot?
There's probably, I don't know, maybe 100 records, and there might be some shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a ton.
So, do you think hotel rooms are worth the money? Or should you go with a camper van? Because hotels are pretty awesome. Don't you think?
I don't know.
But for like a rock band, is that even an option?
Hotel rooms?
Yeah. Unless it's provided, I guess.
Get a hotel room every couple nights, maybe, but have a van. I mean, we used to sleep. We'd have our camper van, and it had a bed that was a table that would sink into a bed, and then we'd all lie shoulder to shoulder, the three of us, and we'd have a merch guy, and he'd sleep on the floor.
Right on. Did someone drive while you were sleeping, or was it just
Sometimes we'd have to rotate.
Right on.
Yeah, I think my longest driving record is 21 hours over the Canadian Shield. Yeah,
That's
nonstop.
pretty intense. From where to where? Do you remember?
I was from Winnipeg to on the way to Peterborough.
Peterborough.
Yeah, Ontario, and I had to give up. Might have been on the way home.
You start seeing things at that point.
I thought I was seeing bats.
Oh, yeah. I think you told me about this once. You thought you were seeing bats on the road.
I thought they were like flying at the window, and I was like, there's bats flying at the window.
You know, that's funny. There's a Cancer Bats music video. Speaking of bats, that's literally exactly that. Have you seen it? It's it's them driving. I think it's Lucifer's Rocking Chair, I think it's called. And they're driving in the van, and like the singer's just like wiping his eyes, and every time he looks back, like somebody's like a giant coffee or something, and the band's like playing in the van, and they're all actually sleeping. It's just like all the days start to run together.
Yeah, that's probably them going from Ontario to Winnipeg.
It probably is. They're like bona fide Canadian.
Oh man, they put work in. They worked hard. They did.
Did you know them? Like
no. We never knew them. They were like super up and coming. I don't know, like around like 2005 or something, I guess.
What do you suppose it is that they did that, like, because apparently they're really popular in like Japan, and I think it has something to do with the fact.
So's Elvis.
Yeah, is that true? I feel like everyone's popular in Japan until you go there, and it's like nobody knows about any of this shit. There's like 400 billion people here. Of course you're popular.
Yeah, they just happened to be here at the show. There was nowhere else to go.
But I mean, like, there's something to be said about, and you kind of mentioned this before, like throwing away everything that you've penciled down and like coming out of the gate as a specific sort of sound. And I feel like Cancer Bats did that. Like their first album sounds like their new album. It's all like one piece. Whereas like my band, The Flu's first album is like garbage. Like not the one that's on Spotify and stuff, but the first one we ever did. It's like you're listening to a bunch of 16-year-olds learn how to play their instruments kind of thing.
Well, all you have to do is go back and listen to the bands I was in before Invasives, and that's what you'd hear.
But what you did is you made a band name and a sound at the same time. I think there's something about that. There's like, you maybe you didn't do it consciously, but there's a look, a sound, like even the album art was like ready to go. Like, do you have the same artist for all your albums?
No, actually, the first record, World's Gotta Go Around, was Joel Lowen. Joel did the album for the art for the first album. The second album...
The second album is the Sweet Kicking and Screaming?
Yeah, and the art by that is done by somebody named Malcolm somebody. He's out of Montreal.
I really like the, it's like cartoony sort of doodling look to it. And it's very like, I feel like the albums all have their own sort of color and theme. I don't know, I'm sort of obsessed with the idea that like an album art is it almost like in your head, that's what the sound is, like the imagery of the sound is that album cover. So when I listen to your song, like Blame the Accident, I feel like is on Sweet Kicking and Screaming. That's what I'm picturing, is like that yellowy look of it.
Well, the yellow is a theme.
Was that a conscious like color decision?
Kind of weirdly enough, yes. And the yellow runs through every single album.
What? Really?
All the way up until Shorts. Yeah, because we don't consider Shorts an album.
What made you want to name your third album the self-titled? That was the third one, right?
That's when we changed our name.
Oh, so okay. So that you, what was your, do I dare not ask what your name was before?
Oh, we were called Married to Music.
That's, okay. That's a name.
Is that news to you?
That's a name, yeah. That is news to me. So, World's Gotta Go Round, It's We Kicking and Screaming, we're married to music. And what made you want to go with that sentence?
Well, we started as a side project, other projects we were doing. We were like, but suddenly we started getting more work than all the other bands we were playing in.
Okay.
And we hung tight to the name, and people that we were involved with would say, would you please change your name? And there was actually some opportunities that we ended up kind of throwing away because we were like, no, we won't change the name.
The stubbornness, like...
We were so stubborn.
You ever look back and wonder, why was I so like married to, no pun intended, why was I so married to that idea? Like, why wouldn't I let go of that?
The name, the reason why we loved the name is because it was a non-band name. It was because it wasn't super not cool.
Oh, okay.
And we were like, this name is the least cool name. We're like, fuck being cool.
I was going to say that, but I'm glad you said it.
It's the worst name ever.
Right.
But that's why we were like, that's hilarious.
It's kind of a troll then.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah.
Like you were trolling. It was like a meta
before
thing.
The internet took off.
Was that before the internet?
2003? It wasn't before the internet, but it was before the word troll was used to... Yeah. So we were like, fuck, butchered skull face. We're going to call ourselves Married to Music. And
I kind of like that one.
Yeah, sure. Right, we called ourselves that until it became a problem. And we got invited to go to Europe, By No Means No. And they said
lose the name.
They said you got to change your name.
So, I guess if it's No Means No asking you to do it, it's like, all right, well, I mean, they're the most
Well, SNFU asked them to do it too, but we refused.
You refused SNFU's?
We did.
What the hell?
We should have not, but we did. And then the thing is that, here, you guys, we're going to give you this opportunity overseas. If you call yourselves Married to Music, people are going to think you're a cabaret act. Which there was a cabaret act out of San Francisco called.
It does sound sort of like loungy.
Yeah, well, if you're in a town somewhere and there's two clubs next to each other, and one has a place called Demon Balls, and then not the club name but the band that's playing Demon. Are you gonna go see Demon Balls, or are you gonna go see Married to Music if you want to see aggressive music? And it's like, you can go see Demon Balls because that's hilarious.
So do you find yourself making these artistic compromises often?
That was a compromise I was kind of happy to make, because I'd realized after all that time that the name had actually become a problem.
You've had lots of different producers, I feel like, with your albums, haven't you? Or they've all been just a couple of guys?
Producers so much.
They're just engineers. Do you have someone behind the board that's like, hey, you should play another chorus at the end?
No.
You don't allow that type of shit?
Well, on the self-titled album, we had some help with Matt Warhurst and Blair Calababa that we would talk about arrangements, and they would say that exact thing. I think Matt Warhurst, I remember him specifically on Who You Are, said one more chorus on the end.
And were you happy with that?
Yeah, I totally agreed. I was like, you're right. You're totally right. One more chorus.
Is that a rare thing for you to have someone sort of suggest shit like that to you?
I totally respect him.
Yeah.
If it's some jabroni,
right,
I'll be like, no.
Some pop guy.
Yeah, but it's like we were all still learning. So now I feel like we've learned a lot from those experiences and have.
So maybe you don't need to make compromises anymore.
I don't know. If somebody has a good idea and says, you do this, I'll be like, absolutely.
So you're not viewing it as going against your original idea. It's more like, okay, that's just better. That's just objectively
a way better idea. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's okay to keep changing.
I think that initially I was against the idea that somebody would question what I had done.
You think that's maybe a good thing? Maybe it's almost like a defense mechanism for young bands.
Growing and learning.
You almost have to be stubborn in order to, because the moment you start letting people change your ideas, they just become garbage within two ideas.
Well, I think when you're very first starting, you're so loosely holding on to the ideas that you have that you feel like you have to, so it's like the songs don't necessarily embody what it is that you think you're expressing. So once you get to a point, you mature your sound and you get to the place where you're comfortable and expressing in every iota of what you do, and somebody says, well, why don't we just try this? You go, okay, let's try that. Because then you have the freedom to go and do something else because you've expressed what you have wanted to do 1,000 times over.
Okay, I see.
And so it's like, yeah, I'll experiment with that. But the first 2 records, it was like uncompromising.
So, but you said your first record might be your best.
I'll rephrase that.
Okay.
It was the most fun. It's the most fun for me to listen to now. Well, I don't know. Listening to old stuff is like super annoying.
Must be kind of trippy. And I bet you're bothered by the production of it. Like, because...
No, that production of it,
do you like it?
Was totally
On
our
purpose.
own doing.
Okay. Because it's got that, like...
Gate that snare,
90s
man.
90s snare thing going
Oh, no,
on.
we were going all for that.
And I absolutely love it. I think it marks like a point in time. It's like a diary entry or something.
Yeah, we brought in records saying, we want this snare sound.
Can you tell me one of those records that you brought in?
Helmet, Strap It On.
Helmet. That keeps coming up, eh?
They were a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, for us. Yeah, just a bunch of guys in skater shorts.
I was kind of curious because, like, I've seen somewhere online, I saw that you mentioned the Ramones. And it's like, that name seems to come up a lot with people that are successful, honestly. Like when I was at Steve Albini's studio, he's like a diehard Ramones guy. And I mean, there's something about it. But like when I listened to your first album and listened to the Ramones, it's like couldn't be more different.
It's idealism, I guess.
So it's something to do with like their method that resonates with you.
Yeah,
Because it isn't the song structure, like maybe the structure, but not the sound.
No, it's well, in a way, it is the sound. It's breaking it down to just the bare necessities. You know, guitar in the left channel, bass in the right channel.
Is that you guys have them separated?
On some of the songs, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
I never even noticed.
Yeah, on some of those. But that's like the Ramones' whole first record is guitar in the left, bass in the right. I might have that mixed up. But then, drums up, like kind of panned out, and then vocals right up the middle. And it just keeps it like super simple.
It's kind of funny.
It gives it so much space. And it's
almost like watching the show. You're hearing it in like
yeah.
stage. So when you do drums, do you guys... I just recently learned this, and I feel kind of stupid that I didn't know this before. But like, there's 2 ways to pan the drums. Like when someone's doing a fill from the high to the low tone.
Oh yeah, are you
do you do it from
like
the stage or from the?
We mix it up.
Just change it.
Yeah, album to album. I feel like the way I'm most comfortable listening to it is to do it as the player. Mm-hmm. I don't think it really makes that much of a difference.
I kind of said that same. I was like, really? I don't really give a fuck actually. If it goes from my ear to ear, who cares? So do you consider yourself like? Do you? You probably don't. But if you had to, would you think of yourself as a drummer or a front man, like in your deepest core? Because I feel like drummers are like a specific type.
I love playing the drums.
Would you, if you had a drum kit and a guitar, which one would you walk to first?
Oh, well, I don't consider having a guitar having to do with being a frontman.
Right.
I don't know. It's like, I love being the center of attention.
Yep,
but
me too.
I kind of like, it's like being out in front and being the front person is great. And getting to like, but I find that sometimes it's like either I'm like too much and people are like, all right, like turn the ham knob down and maybe I'll enjoy your band more.
On the front, you mean, or on the kit?
On the kit, I think I do a great job.
You just lay back.
I just think I could do a better job at making less mistakes.
That surprises me that people would say that you should tone it down. Because I don't consider you to be like, you're not like a David Lee Roth up front. I'd say you're pretty conservative.
It's like 16 years on now.
I guess I've just only seen you 16 years in.
It's not like David Lee Roth. It's more like just like, it's like, it's tough. I love to sing, and I think my voice is wildly unpleasing.
I think your voice is wildly unique.
Maybe that's why.
I read an interview online that said it compared your voice to like the 2 worst voices. It was not worst in like an insulting way, but most unpleasing. Like the guy from Billy Talent and someone else.
That's happened.
And I was like, and the interviewer in that thing said like, and that's not a negative. And I was like, it kind of is. And I don't really consider you to like, yeah, your voice is a soprano, but it doesn't sound like it, like the Billy Talent guy. He's just like this ear nail thing that's just digging into your head.
Well, the thing that bothers me about that comparison, and I've actually never got to talk about this.
I'd love to hear it.
Is the reason why that comparison bothers me is he's a fine singer, but he chooses to sing the most cheeseball things, and it's like we sing in the same register.
Yeah,
and our record came out before theirs.
Oh,
just
I
to
guess
let
it did,
you know.
No shit. That's a good point.
Our first one came out before theirs did, and I know they've been around for 10 years.
And they're from close to here, I feel like.
Nah, they're from Ontario.
Goddamn Ontario bands.
Yeah. All wear black shirts. They must be from Ontario.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, you're from Ontario. You gotta fucking fit in the cookie cutter of rock and roll.
Oh, jeez.
That's me being, hey, Ontario, mix it up.
Little jab.
You can go to Army and Navy and buy a white shirt.
Army and Navy. Don't go to Army and Navy.
Do they have Army and Navy in Ontario?
I don't know.
Anyway,
it bothers you. It bothers you because he's singing some cheeseball shit.
Well, no, they
had 3 really great albums. Great.
No comment.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. But I wouldn't compare
I think
your
I'm a
voice
little bit jaded because of the fact that I felt like I was doing something wildly different. But then they have choppy guitars, and then we have choppy guitars. But I was like, our music's different.
I think to maybe a 50-year-old, when your first album came out, they would sound the same.
Well, I'll say the next 20-year-old that approaches me and says we sound like Billy Talent, I'll be like, hey, can I see your ID?
You know what? This might make you laugh. Everyone that compared my band to another band, they've said Billy Talent as well. So I honestly don't think there's any validity to that at all. I think that's just old people trying to understand fast music.
Fall leaves on the ground. I'm trying to think of that song.
So my next question is...
Sorry, what's his name? Shannon somebody?
Shannon? You're thinking of Blind Melon, I think. I think his name's Ian or Ben. Ben something Kapakowitz or something like that.
Ben Kapakowitz.
That's it.
I'm glad you're doing a good job.
Jewish
and
Canadian.
You guys... They're still headlining like big festivals in Europe.
I respect
them. They do a
them.
big job.
They're one of those Canadian bands that's like, you can't really ignore them. It's like, whether you like them or not, they're doing their thing.
Sure.
They're kind of like Cancer Bass. A lot of people are like, what is this? Is this like sort of parody of Black Sabbath?
If you can make a living playing music, fucking good on you.
Is that possible now?
No.
Okay.
Not from what I've experienced.
You're it's fun. I want to interview you first because I feel like you have a lot to say about this shit. But every time I ask you, you say it's not fucking even possible, and it's like such a bummer.
It's not impossible.
Who's doing it right now? Do you know anyone who's making a living that's not like hating the music they're playing?
Nope. No, I don't know anybody who's hating the music they're playing.
Yeah, you do. You told me about one guy who's in a band I won't name playing the drums. One of your friends who ended up getting a really good gig that now he kind of regrets because his whole life is that one gig. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You have to pause it and tell me.
Do you want to take a pee break?
Yeah.
I think I need a pee.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you pausing it?
I think I just let it roll.
Oh, okay.
Who cares?
I'm trying to remember who you are. I want to take a bite of your sunshiny life because I want to, and I want you. I want to take a bite of your sunshiny life because I want to, and I want you. The needles are buried, the parts are wearing down. I'm a preacher now, a transcendental clown. I'm a thundercloud, and all the thoughts you send, and all the truth you bend, and all the time you spend.
I was actually going to ask you to give me a little Byron note at some point. So that's... Thank you for doing that. So that's what it's like recording vocals as Byron Slack right there. That's what
Marcello mio. Oh, that's the starting good.
Christ. That's
Unday, Nunday, Tuesday, but ugly, Whores Day, Pain Day, Splatters Day.
Sorry, I just had to quote somebody. When I hear that mic distorting, I have to do that.
That sounds like some sort of garage rock demo.
No.
Am I missing a reference that I should know?
Every day I start to ooze.
So you've got a very distinct high voice. I think that's goes without saying.
Well, thanks.
You're somewhere up in like C5.
Somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Do you ever... Are you ever playing a show with a cold and regret writing that many songs? Because I know you can sing low. You've proven that to me before. Do you ever regret having a set that's full of songs in the fucking fifth C?
Oh.
Where you're just like 3 songs in and you're like, I can't.
Yeah. Our second European tour, I blew my vocals out.
How early?
I think it was like 3 weeks into 6 weeks. And it was like we got a break every 7 to 8 days. And
You were doing 7 or 8 in a row?
yeah, we
Wow.
played like 31 cities in 35 days.
Good Lord.
All those tours. Yeah.
That was with...
On our own or with No Means No or with the Hanson Brothers.
How were people like marketing you there? Like on bills, on the radio or on articles? Did they have like a description of you?
No, it wasn't things like that. It was like... we were playing the same venues as like Trans Am. We opened for bands that were, like 500 seaters kind of thing, 600 seaters. Sometimes it's like, you play a bigger city and you get like 1,000, well, maybe like 800 and 900 seater. When we were playing with bigger bands, when it was just us, it's like we were playing like, I don't know, clubs.
Yeah.
Small clubs.
Were you coming home with any positive? Were you in the green?
We
Or in the black, or whatever they
God,
say?
the amount to spend to go on those tours.
Yeah.
I mean, you're buying 3 plane tickets, so that's like the $6,000. And then the van rentals, that's another for a month and a bit. That's like another couple $1,000. Merch,
So-
another couple $1,000. So it's like we would come home with enough to like pay our rent for the next month.
I mean, I guess that's kind of like, that's like the bottom line goal of a musician.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the time, it absolutely was. We go away and know that we come back in the same place that we were.
Right.
Make another record, get back out there. That was kind of the idea.
So like, was it a conscious decision to go without a label? I feel like you guys were signed at one point, weren't you?
Kind of loosely to Rake Records, which is the SNFU's label.
So basically, it was just like buddies kind of helping you out.
Well, they were more of our friends after they signed us. They were like, they were doing their, In the Meantime, In Between Time tour. It was like 2005. And they were like, we'd like to take you with us and you open for us on all your shows.
What was it that
All their shows.
got their attention?
We played with a band called Slave Co. that was the to-be backup band of the new SNFU. It was confusing.
Sounds like kind of sheer luck in a way.
It was, yeah.
So is there? Because it seems like a lot of bands that get signed, that's sort of how it happens. Like there's no cut and dry way to get signed.
We played up in Whistler with Slave Co., which was Chai Pig's new unit. And at the same time, Mark Belke from the previous SNFU was looking at putting a SNFU together to be on the road. And he was like, I want the bass player and the drummer from Chai's band to be in SNFU, and we'll go and play all these shows, and I'll have this band on the label too. And
So I'm not like super well versed in Vancouver punk as much as I'd like to be, but I feel like I'm just a guess. I don't think you consider yourself a punk band. Do you?
I do.
Is your music punk rock?
only because yeah.
So you fit with SNFU and DOA, and like, are you guys in that same wiki article?
I mean, those are the bands that we end. I would love to be.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that. I think a lot of people would be like, hey, "Fuck those kids."
no, because when I listen to those,
those are the people who listen to those bands initially are like in their 50s.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, of course
It's a different era.
We don't fit in with those bands.
but you're the next article down below them, like you're the new
Maybe that would be nice, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
Because when I think of punk, and like maybe when you think of punk, you think of Ramones. Is that true? Or do you think of SNFU and?
When I think of punk, I don't know. Punk is weird.
It's like a mindset or some shit.
I guess the mindset that I always go with is like, it's like I grew up listening to Nirvana, and Mr. Kurt Cobain would always say that punk rock is doing what you want to do, and it's freedom. And I was like, oh, okay, so I can make the music I want to make.
That's absolutely what you guys are then.
Yeah, I was like, that's the band is my expression, and it's fast and it's loud. It must be punk rock, I guess. And it's like, I'm not gonna. I don't know. It's like I'm not a Green Day fan. I appreciate their music, but it's like It's like, to me, Nirvana, is that punk rock? I don't know. It's more like, and now it's classic rock. So is Green Day. So is Pearl Jam.
Classic rock.
It is over 25 years old.
Is that the rule for classic rock?
Well, it's like a car.
It's
if you're gonna drive around a Nissan Multi minivan from 1987, it's classic. Got to get those collector's plates.
So like, how important? Because when you're starting out, I feel like you're constantly pressured to genre your own band. And
Always.
write your own bios.
Agreed.
So how important is it to classify your genre and say your influences? Or do you just say, fuck all that? Because I don't know.
Yeah. We just say, I think on all of our things my brother wrote, it's like, some say we're punk rock, as you wish, Buttercup, which is like a quote from Princess Bride. As
awesome.
you wish, Buttercup. And it's like, yeah.
Who
it's
gives
like,
a fuck, right?
I don't care.
If that matters to you, then yeah, we're punk kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess it's like even the idea that doesn't matter to us is
Pretty
categorized.
punk rock.
Yeah, I guess.
You guys are so fucking cool.
Yeah, but it's like we're punk rock without having a stereotypical T-shirt or tattoo thing. It's like, I don't fucking care.
Like, has it ever? Because people were constantly asking us, like, what should we say your influences are? And I'd always be like, I mean, does that matter?
No, you should just say like Jelly Roll Morton.
Jesus.
It's like my Duke Ellington.
Yeah, Dizzy Gillespie is our biggest influence. We pull from him.
We pull from him. When our guitar player plays, you should see his cheeks.
And it's like, even if I had really distinct influences, I wouldn't want to reveal them. You know?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's important.
Do you?
Yeah. I think that people should know where you're coming from.
Is there a band that if you said the name, suddenly all your songs would sound like theirs?
Yeah, if you go like, absolutely. If you go like literally put together Ramones, Removal from Vancouver, No Means No, Nirvana, Helmet, there's probably one more. I feel like I have to pick somebody later in the 90s, but I don't know. That's enough that it's not like people compare us to Victims Family because I sing.
Never
when
even heard of them.
They're wonderful, but I would like to be compared to like lots of bands. It's always an honor to be like, oh wow, I like that band. Somebody thinks we sound like them, but I'm always like, oh, I don't want to sound just like them.
Yeah, and I couldn't. I think I know a lot of bands, and I've never heard one like yours. And
just don't tell me I sound like Temple of the Dog.
who the fuck ever said that?
Nobody.
Temple of the Dog.
I just don't like Temple.
That's one of those bands that I'm always like, what did they do? They did something about.
They did a huge hit video.
That was a super group, right?
That was a super hit.
Super group. Did it have like Eddie Vedder and shit in it? Is that the wrong band?
The only guy that's not dead.
Of the
Did
group?
you know that all of our folks are dead?
How did were you a Soundgarden fan?
I saw Soundgarden at the Forum in '97.
Good Lord. You're dating yourself.
I'm old.
And did they have? Were they meaningful to you? Because I feel like you guys sort of share a similar like progressiveness that they did.
I totally love their progressive ideals.
Right.
I love that.
They have this like fuck it all, fuck everyone else sort of like, well, this is how Soundgarden sounds. And I think Invasives has a similar like mindset.
That would be nice to be compared with. Each of their albums really changed every time.
Right.
It was so good. Each one was like a real progression. It's like Down on the Upside, maybe not as brilliant as Super Unknown critically. But yeah, there's some and a couple songs on there.
Hook album. Pianos and shit, I think, in that one.
What can I say? And it's like so funny because it's like, you know, I'll say that to people and they'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, well, just listen to it.
People don't like Soundgarden? Is that a thing? I'm yet to meet these people.
Well, that's not cool to cite them as a band. They're a metal band.
They are not metal.
Have you listened to Bad Motorfinger?
Yeah, but it's like
metal, man.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But that's their second album, isn't it?
No, sure. It's
like
rocking
everything
out
else
in the desert,
wasn't
sand
metal.
pouring through hands. It's metal.
It's
sure.
it's metally, I guess. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, you're right.
It's okay.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. All these suicides.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? But who cares? Like, I feel like everyone's already said everything that needed to be said.
Oh, I'm not going to say anything.
There's nothing to say about it. Yeah. So
just kill yourself. And
yeah,
you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Just do it, and you won't even remember anything.
To you, kill yourself.
Right. That's Byron Slack. Everybody, kill yourself. That should be on your tombstone.
Oh. Can I put the order in now? We're online.
It's got a little dark. So what's the difference between like Invasives recording Sweet Kicking and Screaming, and do you have a name for the new one? Or you don't want to reveal it?
No, absolutely. The new record's going to be called Just Another Under the Sun.
Oh, interesting. You guys always have these like cryptic titles for things. I honestly think that it probably my like top 5 favorite album names ever would be Desk Job at Castle Dracula. That is so fucking like it just creates this image in your head instantly. And then the cover's some weird fat guy.
That's Dracula.
I would never have pictured him as this big gnarly fat dude.
I know, me neither, and that's not what I asked for when I had the cover. When I paid for it. Yeah, I know
what I paid for.
I paid for it. I paid for Dracula doing The Birth of Venus, and that's what I got.
Jesus.
And I was like, that's not what I asked for.
So you're really like giving like you have like an artistic vision for everything in this thing.
I get
you're giving them like what you want to see. Like I want to see it, this fucking concept brought to life.
Well, all I said was this is what the record's gonna be called. Mm-hmm. I want The Birth of Venus, but I want Venus to be Dracula, and that's what I got. And I went, well, here's your money. Thanks a lot, kind of. But I was like, okay, we'll roll with that. There's not time to change it.
I like it a lot.
Oh, great.
It's like I said with Kicking and Screaming. It's in my brain when I hear those songs. 101 Damnations on that, or is that on Invasives?
That's on the one a friend of our, Melvin Yap, took that picture with that.
Who is that kid?
That's his niece.
Aw.
Yeah, that we had a different... What the hell did we have for the album cover of that? I can't remember. My brother made one that I would have actually liked to use. It got used... We had a shirt that was... the All Appetites Converge shirt, Invasives. That was the tour shirt, All Appetites Converge. And
that's a cool name.
He had this thing with like a hand through a... He did a collage. And I felt at the time it wasn't grandiose enough, and it didn't kind of zero in. And I kind of regret that. I wish that... I don't know. Anyway, the album cover is what it is, and it's his niece doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's great.
I just assumed that was you for some reason.
No, it's some kid I've never met in my life.
No shit, eh?
Yeah.
She'll be like the new Nevermind baby. She's like 20 years from now.
Oh, that would be funny. Because we'll probably be putting out a record.
I bet you that kid has an Instagram. Could probably find
probably
it. And
now.
that's probably his or her. His, I guess, Instagram.
10 years later. Must have an Instagram.
Never mind. Isn't it like 20 years later?
No, I meant for the other record cover.
Oh, I see.
No, I can't remember whatever.
Yeah, your little niece chick. She'll have an Instagram by now for sure.
She didn't even have to show her dick on the album cover.
So do you think how like patriotic are you when it comes to like Canadian art?
Oh, 100%.
You're one of those people. Are you a Tragically Hip fan? And you don't need to say why you're not if you're not.
I love some of the Tragically Hip songs.
Do you love
I'm
Canadian bands?
I would never call the Tragically Hip the Trage.
Okay, well that's disgusting.
'Cause they're the hip.
I would really hope you didn't say that.
No, they're amazing and wonderful. Neil Young, fucking the Smalls.
So is there a Canadian sound?
I think so.
What does it sound like?
It's weird.
Yeah, goofy kinda.
Can be.
Like a little dorky in like a kind of a cool way.
I don't think it's dorky. I think it's almost like sociopathic.
Right. I once described your singing as I want to say maniacal or something. I can't remember the word it was, but it sounds like someone who's trying to be a regular person, screaming things that regular people might say, but in like an insane way. Like there's this one lyric you have, I think it's in the song something about money. What's that song where you're singing? First lyric's about your parents.
Money in Mind.
Money in Mind. There's this lyric in that song where you're like, I just got home and you're making me mad. You're like basically kind of like screaming at your wife.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And it's got this like almost tense feeling when you hear it, where it's like, ooh, this guy's kind of like unpredictable.
It's not okay.
Do any of your albums have like, do you have any concept albums? Or are they all...
Shorts is a concept album.
Yeah? So are you playing a character?
No.
Have you ever done that?
Played a character? Mm-hmm. Well, in Shorts, I guess there's a character, but it's more like I'm an observer to the things happening.
But it's true to your own reality.
I think that everything else... Shorts was the only time that I had an idea that I was like, it's about... So, on Shorts, there's a song called Madeline, Slave to the Insane Wolf. Mm-hmm. And when we were when they used to have the toll at the top of the Coquihalla, we went to the washroom and there was somebody had written on the bathroom wall, and it said, Madeline, age 12, slave to the insane wolf. And I wanted to call the song that, but my brother made me take out age 12. So he's like, that's too gross.
Yeah, you don't want to.
He's like, don't put that.
That's a good decision.
But that in Shorts is all about a trucker abducting a young girl and then having to deal with the consequences. Wow. That's what Shorts is all about.
From his perspective.
From
an outside.
From it's like there's a lot of perspective in that. Some of it is about the gear that he's bringing to market. Some of it is about the girl being restrained in his vehicle. Some of it is about his relationship with his father.
All within like a minute. This is on Shorts, right?
No, if you go back and you listen to Shorts and you think about that's what it's all about. And that's why when we put that out, it's like we had all this imagery of just like very spooky insides of like these velvet big rigs. It was gross. It was super gross.
You kind of had to put yourself in a weird...
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've seen the YouTube videos, but they're messed up.
I don't think I have. There's YouTube video for Shorts?
We did a video for every single song.
How did I miss that?
I did a video for every single song. We'll have to watch those tonight.
I would love to.
It only takes 10 minutes. However, all the other records are fairly personal.
Yeah, because it seems like a first-person sort of a thing. Some people write from this weird thing where they write characters.
No, I don't write characters. It's people have to be able to relate. So it's about writing something that is relatable. So you have to say something that means something. If you're not saying something, then what are you even doing?
And that's part of those like 3 or 4 songs that you kick off the album? Or do they even
Oh,
get
the 3 or
they
4
even
songs
get
that don't
far?
make the album are like kind of nonsense. Maybe.
Right.
No, it has to be real.
Yeah.
It has to resonate.
So, speaking of like real, I don't know about you, but when I'm writing, if I'm writing about a specific experience or feeling, I almost have to get it out within like a half hour or it's gone. How long do you spend from front to back? Or is it different every time?
No, I think I'm a lot the same. But I keep going back.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, I'll drop
You
things.
edit?
Oh yeah, I'll drop stuff and then go back. I have to go back because the thing is that I have to go back because I have to, like, most of the stuff now that I'm working on, and actually always is about working on it until I'm kind of bored and going like, oh, I'm not coming up with anything good, and I film myself with my phone or I record myself on a 4-track, and then it's like, okay, that's that. I'm done now, or I've had too much beer and I'm not being productive.
That's funny. One of my next questions was like, where does sobriety come in when writing for you?
I do my best writing first thing in the morning.
Wow, that would be the opposite of what I would expect. You know what though? Invasives almost has a first thing in the morning quality to it. I'm not gonna lie, like it's got that like wake up sort of like let's fucking move. One of my favorite lyrics that you ever did was I can never remember the name of it because your fucking song titles are always like book titles and they're hard to remember. But the got my eyes on the clock and I'm always fucking ready to rock. Robot Stink.
Robot Stink, yeah.
I love that. There's something very early morning, get up and go, do it yourself to that song.
Everybody thought that song was about our job. But
Yeah.
that song is about a job I had in like 2000.
Something to do with auto parts or some shit.
Yeah. I was writing.
You sound enthusiastic about the job in the song though. Like you're
Yeah.
you're not taking bullshit. Like you're gonna put in 110% kind of a vibe.
Put in 110%, fucking kill your boss, kill your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like great. Like it's like let's get excited and dig a grave in the backyard and put everything in it, including the cat.
So you're working like a shitty job, or maybe it's not shitty, but it's not really what you want to be doing. Like ideally, you'd be playing full time, right? That is that your fantasy? Is that just not? Does that even exist in your brain anymore?
I don't know.
Because basically, what I'm getting at is like,
I feel like if I was
Sorry.
put on the schedule of being like, and don't say sorry. I just to interrupt. I feel like if I was put on the schedule of being on a schedule like an actual rock band, the next record would be crap.
yeah, that does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like that's why everyone's first record is so good, because then like when they get picked up, suddenly they're like riding on the bus,
I would never be able to do a good job.
and you're writing about like what fucking airports, like nobody cares.
I don't care.
It's like the equivalent of a hack comedian. It's like you're writing about hotel rooms. How relatable is this? No, I mean, most people don't
My
fly.
pillow wasn't as soft as last night.
They never are, hey? Okay, let's just fucking talk about hotel pillows, man. Those motherfuckers need to, like, come down a few feet. Why are they so huge?
You just gotta bring your own
Jesus,
pillow.
well, I do. That's one of the things you learn, isn't it?
Always sleep on top of the comforter.
You know what, though?
Because
You bring your own pillow, you fucking forget it. That and your phone charger.
You say that you bring your own pillow, you fuck it, and then you forget it.
You
You
fuck
leave
it.
it there.
That's what I often call the girls that I bring in their pillows.
Oh God.
I'm just kidding. Sorry to the PC. I imagine having, like, there's one person listening to this and they're going to be offended by that. And that my whole audience will go
Are they
from...
listening right now?
Yeah, this is live. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I'll be like, that's a surprise.
I don't think we're at that point
Hi,
yet.
Mom.
Well, okay.
This is my pecker on the microphone.
He really is. It's a lot wider than I was picturing.
That's why they call me the tuna can.
Oh, God. From smell and size. So, like, you guys have toured with a lot of bands. Have you had any, like, really particularly great experiences with a band? Like,
Oh,
who's
God.
who's carried you to the point where you're, like, forever grateful? Are there any bands that have really done a lot for you that you kind of just want to, like...
There's 3.
Yeah, okay.
And it would be, I've mentioned them already. It's No Means No and SNFU and Removal.
Yeah, those names come up a lot in your diction.
Yeah, They
Instrumental.
brought me to this basement of Jägermeister posters
This
today.
is literally the pinnacle of your career.
Thanks, guys.
Sometimes you end up on Wembley stage, and sometimes you end up in a basement with the windows boarded off.
I kind of rather be in the basement because I heard the Foo Fighters' new album and
Uh-oh.
I got an advance.
You did not.
No, I didn't.
I've been waiting to hear it. Is it out?
No, I meant when I say their new one.
Okay, you heard new songs.
I meant the
Whatever came out last.
Sonic Highway.
Okay. My goal, like, this is my first
Please
episode.
don't. If I ever made an album like Sonic Highways, I hope I never ever do that, because if I made that record, I'd be like, what? And that's their job. Come on, guys.
Well, that's the classic case of, like...
They're so good, and that's what they did. Jesus Christ, on a bicycle.
Okay.
Terrible.
So, I got, like, a couple more questions.
Okay.
And one of them is, like... I have a feeling you're not going to buy this, but I sort of believe in this.
I'm listening.
Can you be too happy to write a rock album?
No, aren't you supposed to be super happy to write a rock album?
Can
you heard
you-
Rock Around the Clock? Great Balls of Fire?
I'm talking about...
Tutti Frutti? Oh, Rudy?
Are these songs that you listen to every day? Like,
Well, they're the ones, that's where it all started.
okay.
Tutti Frutti! Woo!
But Sonic Highways is written by a bunch of dads who are really happy and they have kids and they love their wife. And is that maybe part of the reason why you don't like it?
No, I don't like it because it's claptrap.
Right.
I don't know.
You don't think emotion has anything to do with, like, what your album sounds like?
I don't know. I have to think about that question.
Because you don't strike me as a happy-go-lucky, carefree person. You're not a walking thundercloud, but you're not thumbs upping everyone that you meet.
No, I'm terrible. I'm the worst.
And that is why I think I like your music so much.
Well, that you're a minority,
Is that right?
I would imagine. Yeah.
Do
I would think that's why. I think that anybody who goes, oh, this sounds kind of nice, and then they kind of look into it and go, no, that's kind of gross.
Has anyone ever said this sounds kind of nice? That would surprise me. You've got some
I
of
don't
the
know.
greatest fucking screams I've ever heard because they're so like I don't want to use the wrong word, but they sound like they're being screamed by someone who doesn't scream. Like it's an actual, like, someone screaming for their life type of scream. And that's my favorite kind. Because a lot of people sort of say Kurt Cobain had that sort of fake Fry scream, where the whole time he's kind of singing and screaming the same. I don't think that's how it goes.
I love his scream.
I do too.
Although, if you go back on, I think he needed a drink of water.
Yeah.
I think that if you go back on Bleach, he
Yeah.
has some great screams on there.
And they're real ones.
Yeah.
Because later on, people sometimes criticize, like,
Do
not
people
criticize.
criticize
No,
the
they don't
scream?
criticize. But like, I know a few vocalist people that sort of say that it's sort of the Axl Rose thing or Bon Scott thing, where you kind of like you find that spot and there's no actual damage being done.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, cripes.
Are you singing in falsetto, or are you always singing in your head, like in your chest voice? Because
I have no idea.
So you're like not a theory guy at all, hey?
No.
That's
I mean,
funny.
if I'm gonna sing loud, that's just what I'll do. I don't know.
That's some DIY shit, I think.
I don't know.
It blows my mind that you're not into theory at all.
I warm up. I sing to a couple.
Like, you know
of
the
Amy
chords you're playing. I would hope.
Power chords.
Well, yeah. Let's get real. We're all playing power chords.
That's it. And then I do a couple of things with the power chord, but on the higher strings, I don't know.
I love that.
When we're in practice, I never say this is in A.
You don't say the next chord's going to be.
No, I go,
Here's where it is.
Where are your dots?
Well, you and your brother are the guitar guys, so that's easy because you're on the same exact fucking page all the time.
I'll say it's on this dot, and he'll go, that's...
He's the theory guy.
He'll go, that's G.
Somebody's got to... hold down the theory.
Well, he's the one who says there's too many changes on this record that go from D to A.
Wow. So that does exist then, because when I listen to Invasives, I'm thinking that it's like I'm not huge into theory, but I do notice things where it's like, not you guys, but like, they're doing the tritone again here. Like this is like the third time I've heard it, and this whatever. But I notice that you guys are consistently like not doing the same shit over and over again.
That's probably him.
That's
like
funny.
He's the guitar player.
What?
Playing bass.
Really? And you're
Yeah.
the drummer playing guitar.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the secret.
Yeah. I don't know. And he goes, but he's always like constantly, he's like, that's too many changes into this. And then he'll write a song that is the change will be too odd. And then so I'll have to make it into something that makes more sense to me.
Oh, he's going the full like.
Well, no, just not. It's to me. I just go. That's
Berkeley.
Disjointed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny that having you say. Well, I mean, your songs aren't disjointed. They're like jointed weirdly. They're like duct taped.
They can't. To me, I don't hear that. Though.
Yeah, I almost wish I didn't hear it. You know, when I was taking jazz in school, I took it for like 6 years or something. It was kind of like reluctantly, and I got like a scholarship that I didn't use, and all these awards that I didn't really want. And I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just saying like. I didn't really want to learn too much, and I sort of consciously stopped at one point because I noticed like I was like, oh, I can't go from a sustained sixth blah blah blah. Like I was like realizing too much, where like sometimes I think the magic of writing a rock song comes from like maybe your dick more than it does your actual like.
I think it comes from
brain,
just not knowing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and that's the only way maybe you can find something that's never been done.
Maybe.
Which I think, and again, not trying to stroke too much, I think Invasives hasn't been done before.
I hope.
I honestly do.
To me, I feel like.
Usually I can find the band that they sound like, but not with this one.
Well, wow. I feel that's a wild compliment. Like,
Well, it means nothing coming from me, but no, I do mean it.
That does mean a lot. You're a music listener. You're somebody who understands how the world of music works. And it's like, to me, yes, in a lot of ways, I feel like everything in rock has been done. Mm-hmm. And it's like, to me, it's a bit of, it's over. I listen to a lot of electronic music.
Okay.
And when I hear a good rock band, it's great, but I'm always kind of like, oh, this could be a little bit better. That's the only reason why the three of us have held on to this band and tried to do more, is because we're like, maybe we can do just something more. And it's like, just do something. And it's
Haven't people been saying rock is dead for like the last 40 years?
No,
though?
but it's actually dead now. It is dead.
When did it die?
When I decided.
Who was the last
the last rock
warrior?
band? White Stripes?
Ooh, wow.
I would actually say like,
you would be the last person I would think would like the White Stripes.
I love the White Stripes. Jesus Christ.
Finally.
Their first two albums? Fuck off.
Dude, you know what? When people shit talk Meg White to me, it's like, well, you seriously don't understand what Jack White was doing. Because he was using Meg White as an instrument. Like
She's great, though.
She held the beat, and he wanted her in the... this is from my opinion. He wanted her in the band so that it would force him to play a certain way. And that they would both have to go to this childish, like, innocent version of rock and roll.
But that's rock and roll.
And like, so wow, that was a while ago. Rock's been dead for like fucking
2003.
So you guys just made the fucking...
When they did their Elephant album, I was like, oh, that's too far.
What, like Blue Orchid, I think, was on that. It's getting a little poppy.
Their second album, the French title, whatever the hell it's called.
I don't know.
It's so good. I think the Hives are rocking.
The Hives definitely hold it down.
They're back. But
Are they back?
I mean, yeah, they've been playing.
Sick.
They played shows last year. I saw a video.
Best live band ever, voted by Rolling Stone, I think.
Didn't the Hives tell
Not
Rolling
ever,
Stone that they were their favorite new... We're the Hives!
Yeah, they
We're Rolling
told them.
Stone's favorite new band!
As voted by the Hives,
Yeah.
best rock
Exactly.
band live.
But that's it. I mean, the garage band thing happened in the late 2000s, and then there's been some great bands. I mean, I don't know, but it's like battles. I love battles. But
What, like Oasis and Blur? That kind of a battle?
No, Battles, the band Battles, but they're not a rock band.
Oh, you mean the actual band, Battles?
The band. But no, like a rock band, like with a front person. It's like, I guess in that period of time, it's like, I think that Beach House, their album Bloom, is really good. I think that I like Piss Jeans.
They are something else, eh?
I like them sometimes, but it's like...
You gotta be in the right place.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like their aesthetic versus their sound is disappointing because you hear them and then you see them and they're like this hipster guy without his shirt on, and you're like, you're not... I wanted a tough guy. You're not a tough guy.
I didn't really want a tough guy. I was actually happy when I saw him because I'm like, oh, he's just like a nothing. He's just like a nobody dude. He's like me. He's like he's just a pedestrian.
When I used to hear bands like that, the
singer had a spiked collar and snake tattoos.
Well, no, it was like if you fucked with the vocalist, he might knock your teeth out.
Oh, shit, okay.
And this guy's
I wouldn't put it past that guy, though. You don't think he might knock some teeth? Maybe not.
It would be more like he'd knock his own teeth out and then take an Instagram selfie of both of you.
He looks like he plays a lot of Xbox.
But yeah, and it's like all the lyrics are funny. It's like it's great, it's smart, and it's clever, and they're good. But it's not what it's ironic, right? And I don't like irony.
I'm with you there. We actually just earlier today, and like one of my goals with this thing when I'm talking on this podcast is I don't really want to shit talk too many bands because I'm in no place to start burning bridges right now.
No, you can't. Well,
but I have opinions that I can't ignore. Which one of them is like, and I'm gonna go way out on a fucking limb here because I honestly don't know much about these guys. But when I hear LCD Sound System.
Okay, they're like that instrumental thing band.
It's got like a vocal. To me, it sounds like.
Do they have a singer?
Yeah, it sounds like they're trolling me. Like it's ironic music or something. Like it's like a parody of what music is, or like some sort of meta type of music.
Oh, you
don't know enough.
Well,
I mean, I don't know anything about them either.
I've enjoyed a song here and there.
Yeah. But there's something about that where a band is like, it's almost like they're kind of like raising one eyebrow at you while you're listening. Like, oh, you like this? Like, there's like this irony about it that when I hear that, it's like insulting. I saw D. Antwoord 2 weeks ago.
They're amazing.
Their music, I'm a huge fan of their music.
I think they're incredible.
I think they're sort of a version of punk rock in a way with the way that they behave.
Sure. I can't not agree with that.
I went and saw them, and they made the audience wait through like a 20-minute intro of the same beat over and over again. They played one song.
They're fucking Melvin. And
then they stopped for another 5 minutes, and then the ninja dude, he came out and did an a cappella song for like 15 minutes. And it was just like, it just felt like disrespectful, man.
No, but that's awesome. I like that.
See, I always say that I like that until I'm there. And I'm just like, fuck.
No, because then you just have to sit and watch. Yeah. They're trying to incite a reaction.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's kind of genius, I guess.
They have a giant place full of people.
People are walking out.
Oh, it's so good.
That is kind of good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm almost like wasn't in on the joke, which makes me, I'm the joke.
They're just like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because this isn't what's supposed to happen.
Right.
They're supposed to come out and play Satisfaction. And instead they come out and they go, this is the exact opposite. We're going to just show you. And you go, what? And then you have to sit there.
I guess I have no choice but to just wait.
Well, you just wait, but you watch. Then it's like they're turning it around.
Mm-hmm.
So then if you're in the know, which is kind of cruel and shitty in a way.
It's a little cruel.
I guess.
I thought I was in the know.
But then you can be like, what is the audience going to do?
Right.
Are they going to... Does the band want a night off and they want to be pegged with like beers and then walk off the stage? Or is this what they do every night? It's exciting. You see what could be.
So what about Shannon? I think his name is Shannon Hoon. Pissing on the crowd. What do you think of that?
I had friends. I was in grade 9.
The ultimate version of that.
I was in grade 9, and friends went to see Lenny Kravitz and Shannon Hoon.
That was the bill. Lenny Kravitz.
They were opening for Lenny Kravitz.
That's a weird mix.
They were opening for Lenny Kravitz.
That is a weird mix.
My mama said to be something is something, and yeah, Blind Melon opened. because Lenny Kravitz album was huge.
I like it. I don't give a fuck.
And he peed on people, and it was very exciting. Everybody came back to school. And
Shannon did.
Shannon Hoon peed on people, and everybody came to school the next day and went, "We peed on the front row," and I was like, oh, "Shit, I should have gone." I don't like either of those bands.
That is kind of one of the things you don't want to miss. It's like
I missed it.
people who got pissed on might have been mad, but everyone else was like, "Damn,
Oh, it's so good.
that's kind of badass."
That's great.
See, I always kind of liked it, but it's everyone hates it so much. It's like, fuck, that's sort of badass.
It's great.
So I guess I'm the butt of the joke at that DeAntwoord concert then.
Well, nah.
Because I paid $50 and I was just pissed that I'm standing there. It's like, play your goddamn song for...
But did they play the song?
Eventually.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you're right.
It's called just creating suspense.
Yeah, I guess so.
They are like performance art.
That is exactly what it is. And if you listen to their older shit, like Max Normal or whatever, you can see it's like, oh, he's just like inventing different guys and embodying them.
Crazy.
Which is like kind of awesome. And like these people that they're playing they don't give a fuck about the crowd. Like Yolandi was like joking about how she spent all of our money on her new dress and stuff. And it's like, it just created such a weird vibe in the crowd. Like
people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? To me, that's funny. It's because it's like, I don't know, all the other, they're not tarts, but they are. It's like they're still getting driven to shows in limos and playing the big places and doing the thing, but
you kind of have to see it. It's just like, how am I not going to go to this?
I wish I went.
That's how I felt. It was like, it's like when Beck came here. It's like, I love Beck, but $130 was like, I felt a little
that's really
cheated
expensive
on that. I was in the freaking back row. Oof. But it was like, how am I not gonna? It's like, I got it. Like this guy, he's a walking genius in my eyes. I'm not gonna miss this.
He's a very talented guy.
I just wish they would have dropped the price a little bit. Okay, I got 2 more questions for you. So why base out of Vancouver? Is there a scene here? Is there enough reason for a band to live here? Why live here?
This is where I grew up.
But bands move here.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Is there any point in moving here for like say there's a young band listening right now in fucking Saskadork and they're wondering if they should move to a big city.
If you live in Saskadork, you better check your map because you're in the Twilight Zone.
Should they come here or is there no reason to?
Absolutely, get on the map. I don't know what planet you're on.
Should they move to LA? Should they move to Montreal? Where do you go?
I think Montreal is pretty fun for a lot of bands.
Where do you go as a Canadian band? If you want to work and people to be there. Because, like, I know there's European cities where, like, apparently Germany, or European countries, apparently Germany is a good place to go where people will show up to the shows.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where is that in Canada?
I think the best idea would be to come up with a good idea.
It doesn't matter where you are.
Well,
because you got to live somewhere like that's gig worthy.
I don't know. I think it's there's good bands. Some of my favorite bands ever come out of Winnipeg, and there's like 30 people at their shows, and they stay there because they like Winnipeg. Winnipeg's nice. So I don't know. It's like, isn't Neil Young from Winnipeg?
I think so.
Yeah. So,
but he didn't break out in Winnipeg. There's no way.
No, I know.
He moved somewhere and then broke.
Yeah, but I mean, he did. That was his journey. I don't know. I'm not interested in breaking.
Right.
I'm so happy.
Making is what you're like.
Making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my last question. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Okay. Do you want to like throw a shout out to anybody? I kind of wanted to like shout out to fucking
Dude, what if I said yes?
Oh, well, you didn't, so it doesn't matter.
No, now I want to know.
Yeah,
because
you didn't.
I didn't, and the only reason is because I've never seen one, except for one time where I thought I saw one.
Why would that be a reason to not believe in them? You've never seen Gravity.
I know it exists, though.
You do? You know it?
Yeah, I just put my beer is sitting on that table and it's not floating.
Yeah, that's because the
air.
Earth is flat, Byron.
Right.
No, I was hoping that you'd have some sort of story because I'm like a little bit obsessed with.
One time I was
let's-
on tour in Novi Sad, I believe, in Serbia. If I don't have this wrong.
You were in Serbia?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. We were playing in Serbia.
Interesting.
And we played a show. We went back to stay at this hotel, and I was wildly jet lagged. We had to get up really, really early the next morning. Oh, hold on. Let me rephrase the story.
Okay.
We were in Croatia, in Novi Sad. I might be wildly wrong about these towns' names. But we had to go to Serbia the next day to go to Belgrade and get our Macedonian visas. And we were wildly tired, and I was very jet lagged, and I went to bed. And I was sharing a room with our driver, John Deagle, and he was also selling our merch. And I was sleeping in a room in this very old hotel. It was bullet ridden from all the conflicts that had happened there. And I'm lying in bed, and I close my eyes, and I put my head back on the pillow, and then I suddenly felt like there was two knees digging into my teeth, like just pressing into my mouth. And I thought it was my brother had come over. He's playing a joke on me. And I pushed up, and I looked, and I opened my eyes. I sat up, and there was the street light outside silhouetted against the blinds, this figure.
Whoa.
Standing in front of me, and it just slowly dissolved. And I was like, that's crazy. I'm like, that was a weird trick of the mind. And I was like, fuck that shit. And so I put my head back on the pillow, and I closed my eyes, and immediately, bam, this pressure back on my lips, like I couldn't even do it. Like I was getting like just smothered by a pair of knees.
What?
Or like just mad flexing buttocks.
Good Lord.
And I opened my eyes and sat up finally like, ah! And there was two gentlemen standing at the end of my bed, silhouetted in army fatigues that slowly dissolved in the light.
And you don't believe in ghosts?
I was horrified, and I believed in ghosts at that moment.
Wow.
And so we continue with the tour. I barely slept that night, and I was like, I fucking saw this thing last night. I'm really worried. I'm sure everybody else on the trip was like, Byron's losing his mind. And I got home, and I did some research, and that's called the hag. It's called when you're suffering from sleep deprivation, you have this sensation of severe pressure on your face or chest. And
guys in army fatigues.
Well, no, but you just see whatever it is that you see. In my mind that day, it was like you're in a half dream and awake sleep. So I saw what I'd seen all day. I saw a war-torn city. I saw all the stuff in this building that I was in. It was like a army bunker, whatever, Dracula's castle / bomb shelter. And that's what I saw. I don't know, subconscious mind.
Doesn't necessarily disprove the paranormal.
Well, I went downstairs the next day when we were leaving, and I talked to the hotel clerk. I was like, how long has this hotel been here? She's like, I don't know, like 6 years? And I was like, oh.
6 years? Not even enough for like a single ghost.
No. I was like, okay. I was like, it looks way older than that.
All right, everybody. That's Byron Slack of the Invasives. Thanks for being on my episode 1, dude.
Hey,
Really appreciate it.
it's your band.
It's your boy, Byron Slack.
Just remember, Hosewater ain't so far away from Rosewater.
And on that note, we'll see you in a little while with episode 2. Thanks, motherfuckers.
The fucking Hosecast.
Fucking hosers.
Hey.